turning rough edges into something that heals.
Welcome back to Concrete and Glitter. I'm your host, Benet Pink, and with me is Nick. Nick, we've been discussing this for the past 5 episodes on who you are, what you're doing, what performance is, what our parents are, and where we come from, who inspires us. Now today's episode is all about pride. I think pride means something different to every single queer person. For some people, it's a celebration. And for some people, it's survival. And for some people, it's the first time they've ever felt seen. So this entire month has been about me and unpacking me, where I feel like we should have talked about you a bit more as well. So now it's your turn. Terrifying. Are you ready? Terrifying. Who exactly is Benet? Benet. Well, that's me, of course. I think she is somebody who uplifts Nick, Benet is someone Nick goes to for advice, for perspective, for insight. Because the moment you put this on, you get perspective, a different perspective of yourself. And I think that is Benet's purpose, is to allow Nick to be more femme, be more, flamboyant, be more of the things that he was told he was not allowed to be. And thus, she exists. Benet is my alter ego. Is Benet an alter ego, an extension of yourself? I think both. I think she is both the alter ego, like I said, and an extension of me, of Nick, of us. So Benet really just is a character, I think, that we reach to, just for that bit of extra help, that bit of extra guidance. It's like access to another world, and I think that's beautiful that we get to have her in our lives, You are blessed with me. When did Benet first emerge? I think it's Benet when she specifically first appeared. Obviously, I've played with drag and everything from a young child, where I would wear my mom's red heels or paint my toenails red, whatever, with my sister's nail polish, or, act as one of my aunties or something, But Benet first officially appeared at Harmonis Pride, I think in 2023. Yeah, 2023 Harmonis Pride was her first appearance in December. I think it was the 2nd of December. So I claimed that as her birthday. And honestly, it was an amazing time. Yeah. Did you create her intentionally, or did she just happen over time? I think Benet really slowly emerged out of the shadows. She was partially intentionally created, because I think, as most South African queer people who do drag, we've watched RuPaul's Drag Race and you're like, oh, I want to do that, because I didn't know I'm allowed to. I didn't know this was a possibility for me. Heck, I went to go study architecture. We went to go study architecture, and now look at this. We are creating content, we are performing in drag, and masculine, feminine, even, not that we can call that masculine, but we are performing out here, but I kind of appreciate the idea that she slowly emerged out of just playing with makeup, playing with dolls, playing with, everything that we were told not to. And I love that. But yeah, she was also slightly intentionally created through the influence of Drag Race and seeing drag queens perform. Goodness, my first drag performance I watched, it was just starstruck, it's like, these ladies are doing it, and I just love it. I love the fact that we get to express ourselves, and I think that's why and how she slowly emerged. What inspired your drag identity aesthetically? You know, that's an odd question because I'm still discovering my drag identity aesthetically, you know? I do know the direction I want to go with my drag, but for now I'm just playing, you know? I'm just exploring. I'm trying to see what my talents are. Heck, I'm not happy with the wig I'm wearing today. I mean, what wig is it's my hair? But I'm not like entirely happy with my everyday outfit, you know, like every single look I do is a new challenge, a new lesson learned, and I love that. I love that I get to explore and play and you know, so my identity is not fixed. But to answer your question, the people who inspire or the characters who inspire my drag, definitely Pink, Miley Cyrus, Kim Possible, and yeah, some family members, man. And then I do also want to like lean into the architecture side of it, you know, show the knowledge that we possess in architecture and through drag, you know, that is something I really want to explore. So I want the people to stay tuned for that, you know, there's more interesting things coming. This is just the start of the journey, and I love that we got to start it with these five first episodes, you know. And why pink? Why pink? Why not pink? Honestly. Okay, let me tell you a story. So, my brother, my brother, he's about 5 years older than me, a very straight man. But listen, he bullied the shit out of me in the sense that he told me as a kid that no, I cannot wear pink because pink is for morphies. So I instantly just stopped wearing pink. I stopped like, you know, being, I kind of like withheld my femininity a bit, you know. But the odd thing is he wore the most pink. He always wore pink, and it's because well the ladies found it attractive because he's showing his sensitive side. Now I'm like, yeah, sure. Now I'm showing a lot of my sensitive side, and actually, ladies exclude me, please. But yeah, like for the color pink, because why not? It's not meant to just be a gender specific color. And for the artist influence pink, my dad influenced me there. You know, my dad raised me on pink music. Like he just always put on Danny Pink. Danny Pink is on, you know, the TV, and we would watch it together, watch her together. She was legendary to watch. It was on the Now CDs, DVDs. You know, remember that. So he would put that on, and I think that's why I fell in love with the artist Pink. Specifically, the first song that I really got into was Funhouse, you know? Um, and I just think she's phenomenal. I love her. What does Benet allow you to express emotionally? You know, I could explore with masculine drag as well, which I probably would one day, you know, I would like to explore it. But for now, I'd like to embrace my femininity a lot more because femininity and masculinity, honestly, is just a social construct. We have to express every bit of ourselves. Everybody possesses a bit of femininity and everybody possesses a bit of masculinity. So why not tap into it? You know? Hmm. You know, Benet, Benet allows me to explore a lot. She has awakened sides of me that I didn't know was there. And I'm just exploring. I don't think it's necessarily anything emotional, you know, but I do love that I get to possess more confidence than what I do when I am in your shoes. I love that. Does drag make you feel more powerful or more vulnerable? Honestly, a bit of both. So powerful in the sense that you know I'm owning the stage. I get to just go and I don't care about anything because first of all I can't see the people. I'm blind. You know I'm not wearing my glasses, and I don't have my contacts in right now, so I am blind. Um, but it makes me feel powerful because I just get to walk and I know people are looking. And I think when people stay is when I feel, yeah, I got this. I got this. It makes me feel like I am in control when people are staring, looking, judging. It gives me a willpower to just move, you know, and I love that. I love that thrill. Um, the thrill work, maar yeah. And then with regards to vulnerability, you know, yeah, sure. The thing is, I think these 5 episodes we've both been very vulnerable, you specifically, as much as this is my moment. But yeah, like in a way, she allows me to be more vulnerable as well. Because if it wasn't for Benet, we would not be sitting here together right now. Now, do you think that drag reveals the truth or hides it? I mean, drag can conceal, but I think it shows a lot of truth. The thing is, at the end of the day, currently what I'm doing is I'm playing a character. I'm playing a character and I'm enjoying it. Yes, this character is still developing, she's still like learning who she is and all that, but I am playing a character and I love it. So in that part, yes, I'm hiding something, I guess. But I'm also allowing myself to become more me, you know? To step out of my professional work environment, to step out of like, you know, the 9 to 5 and get into a 5 to 9 where I'm just like a whole different person. And I think that's amazing that one can just like shapeshift like that. Hannah Montana did it, so why can't we? Now, tell us about your first drag performance. My first drag performance? That was at the Armchair. That was at the Armchair in Woodstock in 2025 actually. Yeah, December 2025. I was celebrating my birthday, 2 years old. We're turning 3 this year. I'm still a minor. Oh my gosh. But it was a wonderful experience. I'm just happy that the Armchair allowed me to have a stage. The aim was never to like do a whole performance. It was really just to like have fun and celebrate myself in drag, which is I think what we should have more of. Like I do love the fact that there are drag artists out there who are doing this as careers, who are performing, making money and so on. But for me, I'm just having fun, man. I just want to have fun. You know, girls just want to have fun. So if I go to a bar and I ask, listen, can I do like one performance thing, you know? Like I feel like just let me, you know? Like there's a lot of restrictions in Cape Town, but that's a political conversation we can have later. I had a few issues when I was getting my show ready, if I can call it a show. It was really just karaoke. I just wanted to do some karaoke, lip sync like 2 songs, you know. But there was some back and forth with another venue, which is whatever, you know, but it's apparently some drama that started, but anyways, I'm derailing, apologies. But I'm just happy that the Armchair opened up their doors for me and said, you know what, come, let's have you on our karaoke night, come do 2 lip syncs or whatever. I did 3, by the way, and I'm so proud of them. I'm just happy that I got to do it, you know, and with my loved ones around me. Like I had my friends there, I had my support system, and some strangers. Honestly, made some new friends there too. So I'm just happy with how it went. Who were you with? The people who were with me were my friends, mostly my friends. I wish my family could be here, but I'm the only one in Cape Town. Everybody's up north. But I know that my parents would have probably like pulled through. My mom at least. My dad would also be like, okay, yeah, let's go check it out. And my mom is definitely like my biggest supporter, I think, when it comes to drag in the family. But yeah, mostly my friends, my chosen family, and some strangers. And I'm happy for that. I really appreciate each one of my friends who were there, who showed up. To the ones who couldn't make it, I do understand, but I just appreciate that everyone's there rooting for me, you know? No, friends for life, honestly. Like, you gotta love your allies. Where was it? It was at the Armchair, girl. Aren't you listening? And were you terrified? I mean, I was slightly nervous, not nervous, you know. I was just like, I just don't want to fall. That's all I thought of. It's like, don't fall, don't fall. But I'm like, I've hiked I've hiked Lion's Head in high heels. So, I've done it twice now, by the way. But I've hiked Lion's Head in full drag. Surely, falling off the stage should not be a worry or a concern. In that moment, did you feel that drag would become important to you? No, I didn't know immediately that drag would become important to me. I didn't think that it was like something I would, I don't know, go all the way with. But I'm happy that I fell into it. I fell in love with Benet, and I just appreciate that I get to explore who she is, and I get to like put it out there onto a platform where other people can also see and be inspired and look forward to exploring parts of themselves too. You know, like I think everybody should have that opportunity to just tap into more masculine, more feminine versions of themselves, you know? And there's power in exploring your identity, um, because you honestly find more truths about yourself than you would have known otherwise. What did you feel like seeing yourself transformed for the very first time? I mean, my first time in drag was really just very cakey.
Oh.
I keep those posts on my Instagram to show my growth as a drag performer, a drag artist. Not so much a performer, truly, more, I would say, now it's a content creator. We are working on drag content creation, yeah. But as a drag artist, I was very cakey. If I look back at it, I was very cakey, but I am growing out of it. So seeing myself, I was just like, oh, I look so different. But I also felt like, wow, I look like I smoked 10 packs of cigarettes and fucked someone's dad. Like, yeah, no sleep. That's what I, if you go look at that image, it looks horrid. The hair was bad, the face was bad, everything was bad. I mean, I'm still growing, I'm still learning. But yeah, like, that first time was just, okay, I'm just happy I had my friend there with me. Okay, but like now back to your performance, your first performance. Was there a moment while you were on stage where the audience's reaction changed something in you? So on at the armchair, yeah, like there was this one person in the audience who like was very captivated when I started lip syncing on the table, and I like kind of like moved forward to them, and it was just like so fascinating to see how intrigued they were and how the the interaction happened. Like I felt so connected with the audience, and I would definitely perform again. I haven't performed since yet again, since December 2025. But I'm definitely open to performing again. I would kind of like to like do a play. I'd love to explore more of this art form, you know. I didn't study theater or performance arts or anything like that. This is a just an interest and a passion that I like want to dive into. Um, yeah, since I have the time. I'm single and I don't have kids, so what else should I do with my time? I'm doing drag. I'm spending time with the woman in my life. Well, this is my second favorite woman in my life. My favorite woman is my mother. Did drag help you understand yourself differently? Definitely. No, drag opened my eyes to what I can allow myself. Yes, I do sometimes still feel restricted at work. However, we do live in a country with a beautiful human rights bill, constitution, whatever you call the political words. But we do live in a country with amazing rights, and I should not be restricted actually to wear what I want to wear at work. You know, if I want to wear a dress, I should be allowed to wear a dress. But I do still have that fear sometimes that, listen, maybe this is too much. But also, based on your shirt, if we are too much, they must go find less. Ne? But it definitely allowed me to just own myself much more. I mean, I've got friends and family who have said negative things to me because I do drag. And honestly, to them, I wish them well, but I'm continuing with what I'm continuing because this makes me happy. And if you can't stand that, then the door is there. Like, please leave. Thank you. So, but yeah, if I am too much, go find less. And did Benet save parts of you that everyday life was suppressing? Listen, Benet saves parts of me and she also ruins parts of me. The tucking is a horrid adventure. But no, Benet really brings something out in me that I think is just amazing to feel. I think everybody should do drag. Everybody should try it. Everybody should just have one day with a makeup brush and just paint your face and just do your hair like how you would never do it. Wear outfits that you would never wear and just tell me how you feel when you do that. You feel liberated. You feel new. Okay, let's get back to it. You said your first pride was in Hermanus. What was that like? That was not just the first pride that like I was in drag, but like my first pride that I attended was in Hermanus. What do you remember most vividly from that pride? So, obviously I was the only drag queen there that day. I don't know why, but it was a kind of a small gathering because Hermanus is a small town in the Western Cape. And because I was the only like drag queen there, even though I looked horrid, like I smoked out 10 packs of cigarettes and fucked someone's dad, um, people were staring at me. Like I remember these girls came to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look so amazing. Can I have a photo with you? Can I hug you?" Da, da, da. And honestly, I love that they looked so inspired at all, you know, and that made me feel like, you know what, let's continue with this. Because people are amazed by this tall bitch, you know, walking around in heels. So let's just go into it more and see what happens. And this is where we are now. This is what's happening. We are sharing a YouTube channel with the content creator Nick, you know, and I'm loving it. I'm loving that we can share this page together and show different sides of who we are. So would you say your first pride was very emotional? I would say it felt a bit emotional, you know, because there was a sense of real community. The fact that I put on my first drag outfit in a house that I was staying in with this lady who really just she really helped me bring out a different side of me. So it's just, it felt emotional knowing that she was there also as a guiding mother, you know, but also emotional in the sense that I saw that there are people who are like me. I saw that there are people who have gone through the same things I have, and we're just all there celebrating our lives, being happy. And I think that's beautiful. I think we need more of that, you know. I, yeah, yeah, man, I'm so much just get emotional thinking of it, but pride is there for a reason, and I'm happy that we get to celebrate who we are intentionally. Has pride changed over the years, like a lot? I mean, my first pride was only 3 years ago, but I think, yeah, like, pride must have definitely changed. You know, I can't really speak much of it. I haven't been to that many. I didn't grow up in the whole pride lifestyle. My parents didn't indoctrinate me into like this. I found it on my own, and I'm just happy that I've gone to like, well, 3 or 4 different prides now. I've gone to Cape Town Pride twice, I've gone to Joburg Pride, and I've gone to Hermanus Pride. And I'm happy for all 4 prides, each one of them unique, each one of them different, each one of them special, and each one of them great memories, you know? But from my understanding, it sounds like pride has changed over the years, but yeah, I'm not the one to speak more on that, honestly. Now, what other pride marches or queer events stayed with you emotionally? Um, I think I need to attend more queer events. I definitely need to go to more events. You know, like the past few years, I've just been focused on architecture. I've been focused on becoming a professional architect. I've been focused on all of that. But now I'm kind of just putting myself out there within my identity, sexuality, and all that. And I'm happy that I'm doing that. So I'm going to be exploring more queer events and more, you know, marches where I can also make an impact. And that's, I feel like, what we should be doing as people. Inspire. Like, I want to go out and inspire. That's what I want to do. So, but for the ones that have stuck with me emotionally, I think it was definitely that first Pride at Hermanus Pride. Just because it was my first moment where I felt seen and heard, if that makes sense. What makes queer community feel different? Again, you know, like, I need to get more into the queer community scene. I mostly have straight friends in my life, great allies, you know. Um, but I do think that being around queer people, people who have gone through the same things as you, makes a difference in your perspective of yourself as well. And yeah, like, from what I can say is, like, for the ballrooms that I have attended, I think there was only two or three. For the queer events that I've attended, you know, which also just a few, and for the shows that I've seen, you know, of drag performances, also just like, let's say, four or five, um, I felt these are my people. That's what I felt like, you know, and I felt like, you know what, I want to be more like connected with them and talk to them and, like, you know, but at the moment I just feel like I'm fangirling, you know, where and I think it's also like I find it difficult to connect with the Cape Townian queers, you know, because just Cape Townians in general, not just the Cape Townian queers. There's a lot of the queers who are very open and loving and so on, but just Cape Townians in general makes it difficult sometimes to, like, just stay connected, because sometimes you'd message someone, listen, hey, how's it going, I want to know, are you going to this event or whatever, and it's just like, sometimes it just feels like, okay, they clearly don't want to talk to you. Where I don't know if it's the same thing for Joburg queer people, you know. I'm trying to think, because I know Joburg people are so much nicer than Cape Townians. I'd like to think that they'd be like, yo girl, come through, you know. Where with Cape Townians, it's different. It's different. But I'm getting there. Like, I've made some great Cape Townian queer friends, connected with, and yeah. So queer community just feels different from straight community, because you feel like you belong more. You know, like, you feel like these are my people, and I love that. Why do you think a chosen family is so important during Pride? I think chosen family is important because it shows you that you are not alone with, you know, what you're going through. Because for me, I'm the only queer person in my entire family, you know. I'm the only one doing this nonsense. Expressing myself like this, that we know of, but it's different in your own family, because in your own family, you know, there's always that bit of judgment, which is wild that you're getting judgment from your family, who are the people who are supposed to love you the most and unconditionally. Um, but with queer family, you know, like, that, it's truly unconditional, because everybody's just like, you know what, girl, we're here for you, we support you, no matter what. And I think that's nice, because they know what you're going through, because they went through it, and we all need that. Everybody needs a space that feels like themselves, you know. Yeah, I'm not saying stick to just those people. Like, you have to be open-minded to connect with different types of people, but it just feels special when you are with, you know, the ones that you connect with emotionally. Do you think pride still matters politically? Honey, what do you mean? Pride is political. We are constantly protesting. Do you think me sitting here in drag is just for vibes? I mean, sure, it is kind of. But it's also a statement. I am making a statement that, listen, I over there I'm a professional architect, but right here I am also just a person who is expressing themselves. And we need to allow that to exist. I mean, the entire Africa is still struggling to figure out whether or not LGBTQ rights is Western or African. Um, by the way, it's actually African, but Western narratives pushed the agenda to change that so that, anyways, derailing. But drag is a protest, drag is political, drag is a statement piece to say that, listen, we are here and we're not going anywhere, so deal with it. Do you think Pride has become more commercialized? I think so. Like I mentioned earlier that I do drag because I'm wanting to have fun. I hike up a mountain and drag. I'm not expecting anyone to pay me anything. Yes, it's because I have a day job, and this is my hobby. Um, but I don't think every single drag event has to be a paid event. I don't. I think we need to allow for more spaces or moments where drag artists can just perform and be and not necessarily get paid. I'm sorry, but I don't think that every single event has to have a drag queen that gets paid. I think maybe I should say yes, we should have that, because maybe I should actually be charging more for when I do things. But at the end of the day, I'm just living my life because I want to do this. I'm not trying to capitalize on everything. I hate capitalism. Yo, I can't even say it. But I hate capitalism. I hate that everything is, buy or sell. But I get it. We're trying to make a living, and especially in Cape Town, where the rental prices are so bloody high, we do need that. But it would be nice to just like have moments where, as queers, we can just all perform. We can just all like celebrate ourselves and not make it a thing of needing to make money, you know? Like, let the event, I suppose, pay for you, or let the events be free. Goodness, Joburg Pride is free, by the way. Wait, is it free? Yeah, I think it's free. But Cape Town Pride, what is the problem? Hermanus Pride also, like, we had to pay for that. I don't get it. I don't get paying for Pride. It doesn't make sense to me. Pride should be free. So how do you think we protect the original meaning of Pride while still celebrating joy? You see, I think for that we need to understand the original meaning of Pride. I mean, Pride started with, I suppose, the Stonewall riots, in America, where people said, enough is enough, we are here, you're not gonna like shut us down. And in a way, that's what the Pride marches feel like sometimes. You're walking there and you're like, we are here, we're not going anywhere. And no matter how the people look at you, no matter if you've got like Jehovah's Witnesses standing there with their microphones, we are basically, just by being there, saying that we are here, enough is enough, we're not taking this. And we're still doing that technically, but I think, yeah, you know what, I'm not an event organizer. I could be, I have organized events. But it's not my place, I guess, to talk about what Pride does, but I think that Pride can do better. Especially because if you look at markets, or if you look at companies where, like, specifically around Pride only do they now sell this merchandise, or with Pride events they suddenly like appear, where all year round they are so quiet, and we see it. We see it until they slap on a rainbow flag. I'm not saying you have to have a rainbow flag up all year round, but we do see it when you support us and don't support us within the month that you're making money. So yeah, do better. Why do you think queer people are so drawn to performance? I think it's because we are so loud, a lot of us, especially the queer men, Um, I think we tend to just be vocal because we've had enough. So we outperform, or like we're being extra, whatever. Not all queers are extra, no. But I think people think that also because of media, how we're represented in the media, to be like every queer is like, ah, yes, God, girl, no, no, we're not all that way. Goodness. I mean, it's fun to do those things. There's a lot of you that do it with us, but I think that's why a lot of people think that queer people are drawn to performance, you know, and also because like I want to say almost idolize like all of the performers, you know, we idolize these icons like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Pink. Well, not everybody does Pink. I do Pink, but you know, we kind of look up to these artists as like inspiration for a better extension of ourselves, you know, and I think yeah, that's why people just think that, oh, okay, so you know Beyonce's dance moves, you know this one's songs, like Rihanna's, the whatever, like I think that's why they just associate queer people with kind of being extra, you know. Do you think drag is political just because it exists publicly? That's a difficult question for me to answer because yes and no, you know. Um, Again, us being, you know, out and about and present in public spaces means that we are protesting. This is political. Um, but I don't think it's political just because it exists publicly. You know, I think can it be political? That is the question. Ah, you know what? Let's leave it. I think I'm gonna just say yes. Why do people underestimate femininity? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why femininity is so underestimated. There is a lot of power in femininity. Um, I think people fear femininity because it is deemed not to be powerful. Masculinity is deemed to be more powerful than femininity, and I think the moment femininity overpowers masculinity is when people get scared because it's as if the balance of things that they know get questioned, and the balance of the things that they grew up with are like being rattled, and a lot of people can't handle change, you know. They can't handle that perspective of maybe it should be like this, maybe we should allow femininity to be powerful. What would you say to someone who's afraid of expressing themselves? You know, there's a whole community out there for you. There's a whole community that is watching you. Do not mind your family, do not mind the haters, do not mind the people who are currently in your life. Know that there are more people that you're about to meet, who are there, who will be supporting you, and just don't stand back. You know what? Put it on TV, make a video, put it on TikTok. Like, put yourself out there. Yes, it's scary, but the moment you allow yourself to be more you, you're gonna be more powerful. Okay. Enough emotional damage for one night. Okay, well, now it's your turn. You are a danger. Now, out of drag, what does pride mean to you now? Listen, darling, everything. Everything. Pride means everything to me because I didn't grow up having pride. I didn't grow up with, you know, queers around me like living their best lives. I mean, there was moments on TV that I remember that, okay, I'm seeing queer couples, but I also remember some comments from family members like not enjoying what they were seeing on TV. So knowing now that it's okay for me to just be me is a fabulous feeling, and I think pride, when you go there, it's just that feeling of, "Ugh, you know what, I am loved and I'm allowed to love myself too for this, you know." Has your relationship with pride changed as you've gotten older? I mean, yeah, like the fact that I never had pride, you know, like I said, it's definitely changed because I always thought that, you know what, who I am is a mistake, but I know now that who I am is just who I'm meant to be, it's how I'm created, it's how it's important not to fight something as natural as you being you, you know? So no, pride has definitely changed a lot. I mean, if I can just talk about pride over the past 3 years, you know. I mean, yes, I knew about pride and stuff like from varsity, but we didn't have pride parades near my institution. I studied in Bloemfontein, and there's no pride parades there, you know. But then moving to Cape Town, I mean, I got to experience the whole queer scene and what pride is here. And then having gone to Joburg Pride and Hermanus Pride, Cape Town Pride, just it's just so different for me from like starting going to Pride in drag to actually this year going to Pride as Nick, you know? And it felt liberating knowing that, oh, you know what, I can be whatever, do whatever, dress however, and it wouldn't matter because there are people who are just rooting for you, and I think that's an amazing feeling. So I think I just love Pride more now, and it's something I celebrate annually. Heck, Benet went up a mountain this year again for Pride, which I think honestly shows how much we value Pride. I'm curious, did younger Nick ever imagine this version of you existed? Oh, not at all. Listen, I honestly thought that I was gonna get married to a woman, we're gonna have kids, because remember, that is the narrative that was indoctrinated into me as a child, that a man belongs with a woman and that is just the natural way of things. And after discovering myself, you know, I realized that these narratives are not true. They're not honest to who I am. So obviously, Nick never thought that we'd be sitting here with rainbows because we think that this is condemnation to like burn in hell for eternity. I hope I used my English correctly there, but you know, it's amazing to know that I am here existing as I am today, and I think younger Nick would just be shocked at this scene, but also at awe. What would Pride have meant to you growing up in Limpopo? I think if we had Pride in Limpopo, I would have grown up differently, you know. I would have discovered myself sooner. I would have learned that it's okay to just love, that love is fine. You know, I grew up Christian, and in the religion, you know, love is the foundation. And it's shocking to me that growing up, I never felt that love that I do now, that I'm with queer people, you know, surrounded by queer people. There's more love in my life now than there was when I was in the religion, and it's crazy. So I think if if Pride existed in Limpopo, then I would have discovered love sooner, definitely. And by love, I don't mean relationships. By love, I mean for myself and for people around me. Why do you think visibility is important in smaller towns and conservative spaces? I think it's because in smaller towns, you know, there's a certain narrative that's always pushed with, like I said, Adam and Eve. There's this narrative push that you have to, after school, you have to, like, number one, go study. Number two, you have to, like, get engaged, get married. Then you have to have kids. Then, you know, it's this same old narrative that everybody gets stuck in. And there is no specific way for you to live your life. I mean, now I'm just not talking about queer people, I'm talking about everybody, that there is no narrative for you to follow. And that's okay. You don't have to follow the system that's around you, you don't. You could literally just go travel, like don't have kids, like you could just live your life happily without following the previous people in your family, without following what your family members are doing, you know? Just go live a life that makes you happy. It's what I'm saying. And I think having Pride in such smaller towns allows you to see that, you know, there are different types of people out there, and it's okay to be different. It's okay to stand out and be you know? Do you think queer joy can change people. I think queers just bring joy to people, honestly. Like, we are a vibe. Um, and it's sad to me that people try to hate on happiness, because queers, they've liberated themselves. They are liberated beings. The moment you can say, this is who I am, this is me. Oh, I love that movie, like The Greatest Showman, that song. But the moment you can say, this is me, this is who I am, I think there's just an unstoppable power, Like, I love that. And yeah, queer joy can change people for that reason, because we can show them that it's powerful to just be us. What does it mean to you to live openly? I think it just means to be honest with yourself, to just allow yourself to just be. Yeah, it's not that deep, Like, just be you. What kind of role model do you hope to be? I really hope I can be someone that the younger generation looks at and can just be like, you know what, if Nick could do it, I could do it too. I always tell myself, every time I take on a challenge, I literally tell myself, like, I've done it before, I can do it again, but this time I can do it better, And I think it's very important that the younger generation follows that narrative. Like, let's say you are doing soccer or archery or whatever the case may be, every time you shoot that arrow, just tell yourself, you know what, I got 45 points now, I'll have 50 tomorrow, Every time you do your makeup, just know that, you know what, okay, so I didn't block out my brows properly this time, looking at you, but I can see you've improved. And that's my point, is the fact that every time you as a person does something, like, just, yeah, build onto it and tell yourself, listen, I'm not stopping here, I've done it before, I can do it again, and this time I'll do it better. Do you feel any type of responsibility knowing that younger queer people might be watching you? Yes. I am someone with a following on TikTok of 260,000 plus people. Like, I never thought there was a lot of people. Like, I always told my friend that, oh no, like, at one point when I was at 100,000, my friend told me, girl, you're famous. I'm like, girl, I'm not. I'm really not. Like, I mean, I'm not doing anything with it. Like, even now, with 260K, like, I still don't feel it. But then I do feel it when I go out in public and people recognize me and they're like, oh my gosh, Ujesu, like, da-da-da-da-da. They freak out. And I'm like, girl, it's not that deep. Like, I'm just being. And I think I'm only starting to realize now that there is a lot of responsibility because people are watching me. And I think that's why I want to take this journey of getting onto a platform like YouTube, and other platforms too, where I put myself out there and I show that, you know what, yes, I'm having fun on TikTok, but there is also more to me. And there's responsibility in that, because now I have to also check and see and plan and, do things, but also still remain true to who I am and what I'm doing on TikTok as well, like just what I'm doing in life. And that is living it with truth, love, and confidence all the time. What do you hope young boys specifically take from your story? You know what, when it comes to boys, I really feel saddened that a lot of the time they're not allowed to express their emotions. So I hope that boys see, like, it's okay to be soft. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express. You know what's a funny story? I just want to point this out. My first time painting nails, I learned it from straight boys because they were comfortable with their masculinity enough to showcase that femininity. Not that painting your nail polish should be considered feminine, but it should just be, a thing that you do because you like it. It shouldn't be a feminine or masculine thing. We can somehow remove those labels if needed, but it's just, boys should be okay with doing the same things that girls do, and because a lot of the times girls are okay with doing the same things that boys do, so that narrative should be able to split both ways. Gender's a spectrum, man. Like, let's just avoid the labels, please. I understand with kids there's like still this distinction of like, okay, but this is what a boy's body does and this is what a girl's body does. This is what boys will be going through emotionally, this is what girls will go through emotionally. But it's important that they all get to express whatever those emotions are and they don't suppress it, because when they suppress it, we've got cases of GBV. So I'm just saying, like, allow your boy child to cry. And I hope that they get to see that it's okay to just be. Don't put a label on yourself. Don't pressure yourself into anything. Just exist. And my daughter would be so much happier if they just stopped worrying about what people think and just existed. Just be men. What would you say to a queer child growing up afraid right now? I would say that they're not alone, that there is a whole community out there to support them, to be there. All they have to do is reach out. I know it's tough when family members push you aside. I've had that feeling, still go through it a lot today. But don't mind your haters, you know? Actually, show them. Show them that your life is good the way it is, because. But to the young kids who are growing up afraid of being queer and afraid of just expressing themselves, know that there is a community that will support you in allowing you to, like, exist. And I get it, it becomes difficult, because I remember also my coming out story to my parents. It was a case where I knew from, I think, from the age of 20, that I was gay. Like, I accepted it, I was like, okay, cool. But I kept it secret from my family. I think there were family members who definitely saw and knew from a young age. I think it's obvious because I was playing with Barbie dolls. Not that that makes you gay, but it was a good indication. But definitely, like, the fact that the reason I kept it silent was because I was afraid, what if my parents were not accepting of who I am? So I was waiting until I finished my degree, because my parents were paying for my studies. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for that privilege. But they paid for my studies, and I'm very grateful for that. But I was waiting literally till the year I graduated with my bachelor's to tell them, because what if they shunned me or pushed me away or anything like that, you know? And like, it was that fear that just said, you know what, just secure a degree so that should your parents not like this, that you can go and support yourself, that you can go and sustain yourself. You know, and I'm just so thankful that everything worked out in the end, where yes, there are still narratives that my parents try to understand. There's still narratives that they don't know about me, and there's a lot of things that they still question, and I understand that, you know. It took me time to accept myself. It's going to take them and other family members also time to understand me and accept me as I am. And I understand that, because it took me that time, you know. But no queer child should be going through those thoughts of like, what if my family doesn't love me the way I am? Because you should be loved unconditionally. So to those kids growing up afraid, know that there's a community out there that will be loving you unconditionally. Do you think masculinity needs redefining? Oh yes, definitely. Like, the labels must disappear. Please, 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 please. Masculinity, femininity, you know, I think there's power in femininity, whatever. But it's like I said with the nail polish, you know, like, it's not necessarily feminine. You know, Egyptians used to like paint their nails too, I think. I correct me there, please. But, you know, a lot of the feminine things that we have today, or that we consider feminine, weren't always feminine. Heels were worn by men to, you know, show their status, their height, you know. So a lot of the things that have become feminine used to be masculine. So masculinity, femininity, let's just reconfigure what all of that means. And I think it is also person specific. It's not like a set rules. Masculinity and femininity is person specific, and I definitely think it needs redefining. What kind of men do you think the world needs more of? Men who cry, men who express themselves, men who... Actually, do we need men? I don't think we need men. But no, men who are just comfortable with who they are, comfortable enough, and this particularly, I'm talking about straight men now, men who are comfortable enough to share a space with a gay man and not think that the gay man is hitting on them. Honestly, because we're not. I mean, some are, they do take the chances to see if you would swim both ways. But if you cave, you cave, and that's on you. But be secure in yourself that you know you're not gonna cave, because honestly, why my existence threatens you, I don't understand. I don't. How do you stay soft without becoming fragile? You know, that's a difficult one, because I think we're all fragile and we're all tough. The concrete and glitter is, yeah, it's both there. But I think the moment you just become honest with yourself is when you are kind of soft, vulnerable, you know, because you are allowing the world to see you. And you just being soft doesn't mean that you are fragile. It doesn't mean that you're gonna break. Heck, I mean, if you think of, I guess you could say spaghetti, you know, and spaghetti is not soft, it can break. So, I don't know if that analogy makes sense here, but, you know, in my mind it's like, you know, obviously if a sponge is wet, it won't, like, tear easily, but if it's dry, it will break and crack. So allow yourself to be soft. Allow yourself to soak in the glitter, you know, and just exist, I guess. Yeah. And what parts of yourself are you most proud of now? Girl, the fact that I have a master's degree, the fact that I am a professional architect registered with SACAP, the fact that I am leading an architecture department in a multidisciplinary practice, the fact that I am me and I am okay with me being me. I allow myself to be queer and with cheer and with drag and with, I'm just so happy of who I am, and I think that has made me proud. My joy, my hard work, my everything right now. There's a long way to still go. There's a lot of battles I still need to go fight, but I'm just immensely proud of who I am now. Now I want to ask you, what did young Nick need to hear that nobody ever told him? You know, I think young Nick had a lot of support from his parents, from his family, from friends. But I think the one thing that he didn't hear was that it's just okay to be yourself. I don't know if anyone ever told me that. You know, like, people do grow up telling you that it's okay to be yourself, but then you be yourself and then they judge you. Or maybe, I don't know, don't be scared. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but it's most probably just you are loved unconditionally. That's what young Nick never heard. Yeah, you are loved unconditionally. I did hear it later in life. Like I said, my mother and I had a whole conversation about it. But the younger me, if I had known that it's okay to just exist without fear of the limp wrist narrative, you know, without needing to do this and, you know, whatever, then I would have been more flamboyant even sooner, girl. You know, there's a great sense of community in South Africa where people are like rooting for you, especially at like rugby games and things like that. Always sports, always sports. I feel like drag is a sport. I mean, when I talk to my brother about, yeah, I'm doing drag, he also says he does drag, but he does Drag Race and I want to be on Drag Race. It's not the same conversation. He's talking about cars and I'm talking about drag queens. But even with all those confusions, there's always that sense of community in South Africa. So I want to ask you, what does pride look like in South Africa specifically? You know, I think it's beautiful that pride in South Africa kind of like transitioned with the abolishment of the apartheid era. I think it is such a beautiful thing that our constitution was updated immediately, that, you know what, it's not just rights for black people, it's rights for all. You know, so queer people also got the space of like, you know what, be part of the human rights thing, you know, it's not just straight people that get their rights. It's queers also get their rights, and I love that that transition happened together, because when Mandela said human rights, he meant human rights. And I think that's unique, to our country. I think it's I don't know if it is everywhere else in the world like that, where we immediately, got those rights. And I mean, literally the next day after same-sex marriages were allowed, there was a couple that went to go get married. So I think so. I think it was the next day, but not soon after, they went to go get married. And that, I think, is a beautiful thing, part of the South African pride narrative, that's just so unique to us. What conversations around queerness still need to happen here? I mean, there's a lot of talking happening about queer people in South Africa, sometimes not enough listening. But I definitely would love to have a conversation around seeing more queer people on the media. Because I was thinking to myself, like, there was this conversation I had with my mother about, the drag queens on TV. And she's like, but is South Africa ready for this? And I thought to myself, Mom, but it's been like over 30 years, I think. I don't know where we are now, but it's been nearly 30 years. And you have to ask yourself, what, we've seen interracial relationships like thriving on the media. We've seen it, So if not now, when? Because people should have been ready ever since that abolishment of the apartheid rules and inclusive human rights bylaws and so on. They should have been ready since then, that gay people are here, that queer people are here, that LGBTQ rights have existed since, even before, but since, And that's a conversation we definitely need to have more of seeing queer families on TV. I want to see a queer family on a toilet paper ad, for goodness sake, on a Spur ad. Goodness, give me a gay couple on a Spur ad, please. Do you think South Africa fully understands queer identity beyond representation? I don't know. I honestly don't know how to answer this question fully. But what I will say is that I think that we definitely just need more queer representation in the media. I'm not just talking about, TV shows and documentaries and whatever. Like, I'm literally talking about, I want to watch a movie, a series, a TV ad, and I want to see people like you and me up there. I mean, I'm happy that we're going to be on TV soon, so, but I definitely want to see more of us on screen. What gives you hope for the future? I think that we are going to see more of us on screen. The fact that we are here and that we are going to be, well, we're starting off our TV journey on Deal or No Deal, so. But I love that there are more TV shows and things happening now in this era, and it gives me hope for the young generation to see that there are people like them on TV. Media has a huge influence on a generation, and I think it is so empowering to see just us represented in the media, and that gives me hope. It gives me real hope. What kind of world do you hope younger queer people inherit? A world without fear. A world without worry that you are going to be shot, killed, that you are that someone's gonna like diss you in the comment section and say that, listen, I hope you die and you burn in hell. Like, I hope that we get to inherit a world where everybody just speaks love, It's like I said, I grew up in a religious household where love was the foundation of the religion. And it's sad to me to know that I never got to see that love, and seeing that love now amongst queer people is liberating. I honestly believe Jesus was a queer man because he preached love so much. It just makes sense. It makes sense. And I hope that young queer people inherit that narrative of love and acceptance. What do you think queer people teach society? That it's okay to be you, that it's okay to just exist, that it's okay. That's what we teach society. And what do you want your legacy to be, creatively and personally? I think I want to leave a legacy of honesty, of love, and of confidence. Yeah. That without your truth, people won't see you. Without your love, people won't feel you. And without your confidence, people won't hear you. What are you proud of beyond achievement? Who I became. What part of yourself took the longest to love? My femininity. It took me a long time to accept, to love, and appreciate that it's okay to just be more, be extra. And I didn't realize I loved this part of myself, but I am in love with me. Do you think queer people spend their whole lives learning not to apologize for existing? Look, I think queer people are constantly apologizing for just existing. And it's something I also brought into a past relationship where my partner had to tell me, listen, stop apologizing. It was a thing of every time you have a limp wrist, somebody shouts at you. Every time you talk funny or walk funny or anything like that, then people scold you because no, you must stand upright and you can't cry, only sissies cry, and things like that. So you're constantly saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, just for you being you, just for you expressing yourself. And that has to stop. We've spent our lives just apologizing for who we are, and it's time that stops, because we want to be free, And speaking of, what does freedom feel like to you now? Freedom? Yo, sielele mama. Well, I don't think as a white person I must comment too much because we've had freedom for a while. But freedom to be queer just feels liberating, man. Just to exist without any fear of prejudice. Oh, what a feeling, You don't get that in every space, but I think freedom just feels like flying, like you are above everything and that you can do anything that you want, And my question to you then is, what do you hope people feel after watching the series? I mean, after the first 5 episodes, I hope that they feel it's okay to pop by, it's okay to say hi, it's okay to get into the comment section, and it's okay to be you, because you and I both support a community who thrives on just being, who thrives on their truth, their love, and their confidence. That's what we're sharing to the world here. So I hope that they see that this is a safe space. And I hope they stay for all the educational things that we're also bringing onto the channel very soon. So stay tuned. Okay, let me give you a final rapid fire. Are you ready? Okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Okay, favorite Pride memory. Go. I would have to say that muggy face of my first Pride, that cake look of I smoked 10 packs of cigarettes, and yeah, I think that would have to be my favorite Pride memory. And also because I had one of my closest friends with me there. And her being there, shout out to Monique, just her being there, witnessing my first birth as a drag queen. So amazing. That was an amazing memory. A queer icon you'll always love. A queer icon I'll always love? Oh, I don't know. Lady Gaga? Yeah, sure. Lady Gaga. Born This Way. A song that feels like freedom. Trustful by Pink. And one thing queer people deserve more of. Love. Unconditional love from family. What is one thing the world must understand about queer people? That we are a danger to their children. Oh my gosh, the indoctrination I went through as a child, and I turned out like this. And I've been asking this question, but let's go again. What does home mean now? For this round, I'm just gonna say it means love. It means where I am loved. You know, I think pride is often misunderstood as loudness, when sometimes it's just honesty. Sometimes it's survival. And sometimes it's finally allowing yourself to take up space. So, for anyone who is watching this, who still feels afraid, there is nothing shameful about becoming your true self. And there are people waiting to love you exactly as you are. Happy Pride. I mean, Pride Month is over, but happy Pride, live your truth, darling. Let's go. And that's a wrap on episode 5 of Concrete and Glitter. Stay tuned for what's coming next. Like, subscribe, share, tell your people that we're here and we're queer and we're ready to just be with you, okay? Love thy neighbor, darling. Love thy neighbor. And for now, ta-ta.